Deepesh Patel, editor at Trade Finance Global. Here we are at ITFA's 50th annual conference held in Limassol, Cyprus. 2023 has been described as a generational hard market in the insurance and reinsurance industry. Premiums were high, underwriting standards were strict, and coverage was hard to obtain. In difficult conditions, it's easy to assume that resources and time are perhaps not best allocated to recruitment and insurance, but talent recruitment, mentoring, and development require a concerted strategy for all organizations, whether from a localized perspective in ensuring to be proactive with hiring or from a macro perspective regarding geopolitical unpredictability. Complacency in this industry can be dangerous and challenging. So here to tell us more, I'm delighted to be joined by Swiss Re Corporate Solutions Global Head of Trade Finance, Marilyn Blattner-Hoyle. Marilyn, welcome to Trade Finance Talks.
Thank you very much for having me.
And welcome back, I should say. So I'm sure you don't need an introduction, but I would like you to give one more. So who are you, where are you from, and what do you do?
Absolutely. So I'm Marilyn, and I'm the Global Head of Trade Finance at Swiss Re Corporate Solutions, which is the primary arm of Swiss Re, the global big reinsurance company that you all know. And I would say what we do every day is we try to make the world more resilient. In the trade finance team, of course, we do that by enabling global trade. So we support banks to take risks on companies and banks all around the world.
Thank you very much. Now, to begin with, can you talk us through your career path and talk about some of the motivations behind each transition, some of the key takeaways from each role? And I know you wear lots of hats.
Absolutely. So, I always like to say that my career or my work life started on the lemonade stands of Wisconsin, where you could have seen me and my twin sister selling lemonade on the streets. So that's where I guess the passion for selling the world, clients, etc. Started. From there, in my undergrad, I actually went to business school, so I did finance and got into consulting. And at some point, realized I wanted to have a deep technical specialism, so I became a lawyer. And I absolutely loved doing both consulting and law, working with clients, solving deals, etc. I'd say I fell into insurance. I remember still saying, no, I don't think I'll work on insurance. But of course, that's where I find myself today. So many good years at AIG and now at Swiss Re, leading an absolutely fabulous team, working with all the global banks and many more clients.
Thank you. And Marilyn, we're going to go ad lib slightly because you had a wonderful panel session earlier, and I would like to ask you, in your opinion, what are the big things we should think about when we're thinking about the future of trade finance and kind of future-proofing our industry to a lot of the big, exciting things going on in the world right now?
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting because we want to attract talent, and one of the ways we really know that we can do that for the next generation is empowering them and making them successful at driving a purpose. And I think at Swiss Re, our purpose is making the world more resilient, and that speaks to a lot of people. We have to bring that down to the day-to-day as well in terms of what do they do in their jobs, who are they helping, working with clients, brokers, but also adding value to the trade finance gap that we often talk about, to getting finance to the SMEs. These are all things that I think really connect with the next generations that are coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. And how would you say organizations today are adapting some of their recruitment policies and recruiting practices to continue to attract top talent, particularly into trade finance? I mean, to start off with, are we doing a good job of that at the moment?
Yeah, so it was something interesting that was discussed earlier in relation to the number of retirements that are coming up across the industry. Trade finance is known as having lots of fantastic very well-known individuals. And I think it's on a lot of us to plan for the next stage, to figure out how we empower the next generation. So what we do when we recruit is one, we certainly aim for diversity in that we want teams of all walks of life that represent our clients, our brokers, and the people that we're serving, right? So I think that's one thing that we spend a lot more time thinking about. And I just want to say we do that by creating unbiased systems, not by making decisions of we need one more of that or this. It's really about figuring out a way to recruit and to enable our team members to come and bring their whole selves basically to work. So we've done a lot of that in terms of even how we ask questions in interviews in different ways to make sure that our biases that we all have don't play into that process. So I'm super proud of the diversity of the trade finance team at Swiss Re, and certainly I think it reflects greatly on how we build the business and how we serve our clients and brokers.
Thank you. Let's turn it on its head and look at it from the other perspective now of the new graduate that wants to come into trade finance. What advice or recommendations would you give them, given that you've had a whole wide range of experiences and also probably had the opportunity to mentor many people?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I definitely think mentorship and sponsorship is so critical. And at any one moment, I try to mentor, say, maybe 5 people in the industry. And often the first things I tell them are, what do you want to be in this industry? And what do you want to do? And let's empower around that. And often that's where that purpose comes in. I think some of the changes that are happening in our workforce is that we have to focus more on resilience. Times can be tough. We maybe shy away a little bit from failure. It's creating an environment now with mentees, with our team members, to make sure people feel they can fail. They can learn resilience of receiving feedback, of a client saying no. These are things that happen, and I think we have to prepare ourselves for that. Equally, I'm also a believer of how do we build work-life balance, allowing people to come with their desires. So I'll give a simple example. I'm a mother of 2. People often come to me and say, I'm not sure I can have children and really bring my best self to work. And I would like to say to all of the people listening to your wonderful show, I truly believe you can do both. And of course, it's about managing your expectations and the expectations of others, and often saying no to things, which is fine. But I truly believe you don't have to choose between those things.
Thank you. And I'm going to pick up on your first points to start off with. So how do we build resilience in people as they start off in their careers? Because let's face it, it's not easy. It's a tough industry. And secondly, how do we build organizations that embrace failure, where it's okay to fail? You have that safety net, because that is how we innovate and grow and develop as an industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't have the answers, okay? I think about these every day. I love leading people, teams, and inspiring people to do great things, right? So I think it's first understanding and listening to people and making sure they feel that they can have a voice, and that maybe they won't have the answer to the question or the solution, but that's okay, and they're still valued. And I think that's really important to know early in your career, because you may not have the answers, but you trigger a thought process in a different way, or an idea around a product, or something about technology that I sure don't know, and that can inspire something. And so I think it's about right away from the beginning making people feel welcome to speak up, to give their ideas, etc. I think it's also building a feedback culture and making it okay to give and receive feedback all the time. We try to do this in monthly sessions with each of our team members to make sure people feel that, but you have to live it every day. And then, you probably have many ideas as well that I'd love to hear.
Sometimes, and then it comes into a big prioritization list. I want to pick up on ideas and technology, and I think I use the word artificial intelligence, AI, with caution, doubt, and optimism, sometimes all at the same time. What are your thoughts on let's take AI to start with, in terms of the potential for AI within credit insurance? And perhaps then I'm going to ask you to talk through some of those future trends that you see within our industry.
Absolutely. So at Swiss Re, we believe greatly in experimenting and being on the front foot of how AI can change our lives. We have some good examples already. We use Microsoft Copilot, which is essentially like a digital assistant, I would say, in so many words. And we actually rolled that across the whole trade finance team right away to see what we could deliver in terms of better productivity, capability, et cetera. And what we use it for already is every single one of our meetings, we turn on the transcript, and Copilot actually records the minutes of the meetings, and whatever question we ask it, it delivers a nice little package of that meeting. That, I would say, on average, can save each of our team members at least an hour a day. And the quality is very impressive. So that's an example of how it's changing it now. Additionally, we're looking into how can we augment credit analysis using AI, which is really important to us. As you know, that's a big piece of our business, is looking at credit risk, evaluating credit risk. So we have great belief in what the future can look like in that space. Who knows what it will exactly be, but we believe in it. So those are just a few examples. Yep. We also have lessons learned.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of controversy around AI bias at the moment, particularly when we talk about gender, actually. And I think it's very, very interesting seeing what's being talked about quite a lot in terms of that uneven bias within our industry. How would you say organizations can balance the need for automation using some of these new technologies like AI, whilst also maintaining that kind of human element and human oversight and decision making within trade finance and credit insurance?
Yeah, so I think, number one, I truly believe that there's a place for the unity of what AI brings and what people bring, and you see that already in, for example, when you ask one of these AI tools to write a speech, and the speech, it doesn't have a human flavor. So even in that, you can see there's space for both. So AI will create huge productivity gains, et cetera, but will it really replace the nuance of the human brain? I don't believe that. What I do believe, though, is that we should be open-minded to AI, and we should already be thinking and training our groups and our minds around the bias that AI brings. Mm-hmm. Simple example. We recently tried to use AI to create headshots for our global trade finance team. And the way we did this was to put essentially 5 of my photographs into the system, and AI then generates headshots with a variety of outfits. Now, the headshots came back, and they all looked like Princess Catherine. And as much as I would love you to tell me I look like Princess Catherine, I know I don't. And so immediately what struck me was, wow, this is a live example of the bias right in front of our eyes, which is basically AI was pulling all of the pictures it could pull from the world. And if you think about even male versus female, a lot of the female photos that are all over the web are celebrities, princesses, etc. And so the bias was evident right there. When we actually did a similar thing for the men, where perhaps there are many more different types of photos, etc., actually the photos looked much better. So already there, we saw a very interesting dichotomy of how AI has bias. Not to say that it's not useful, not to say that headshots won't in the future be AI-driven, but nice way how we have to train our minds and the way we use things to pick up those biases and make sure that in trade finance, we don't let such bias take us down the wrong path with our data.
Absolutely, absolutely. I guess final question, and I think our viewers will enjoy this. I'd like you to sell why trade finance and credit insurance is a very exciting time, because I think we're often quite used to quite a lot of doom and gloom in terms of what's going on in the world and what's going on in the industry. And I know you're extremely optimistic and extremely positive, and also a driver of change within the industry. So to our readers, listeners, viewers, why is now the most exciting time to be in our industry, Marilyn?
Oh, I love it. I love selling trade finance as well as lemonade. What I would say is trade finance is tangible. We're helping real people, real companies, real things, real economies. And so every day when you work on trade finance, you're actually helping not only to make the world more resilient, but helping to create trade that empowers people, and we heard about it earlier, reduces poverty. I think that's an amazing purpose that drives us every day, and we have so much fun doing it, working with the close-knit group that we all know. So absolutely. Great deals, great purpose. Everyone should come to trade finance.
There we go. That was Marilyn Blattner-Hoyle, Global Head of Trade Finance at Swiss Re Corporate Solutions. Here we are at ITFA's 50th Annual Conference in Limassol, Cyprus. Marilyn, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, Deepesh.